Very, very poised first stroke from the Americans on the left of your picture. More aggressive start from the crew from the Czech Republic. We're riding there with the Americans. You can see Heidi Robbins in the stroke seats, and I know that the American women training for Rio back probably on Mercer Lake in Princeton are probably watching this as the eights come out the end of the island on YouTube. You can pick the racing up there. And we say hi to you guys. We hope the training camp is going well. Thanks for the little text from Megan Calmo yesterday. I do know that Mercer County Lake is not a private lake of Princeton University now, but a public lake that lots of frustrating juniors have to let us row on. So I've got that, but the American women aren't letting the Czechs do what they did yesterday and dominate the race early on.
There's a lot of talent in the Czech crew. They're a mixture of lightweights and open weights and under 23, and they're a talented crew, but they're coming up against, as you say, arguably some of the fastest women that there are in the world, who just happen not to have been selected in the American women's eight because they have such incredible strength in depth. These are women who are used to winning world championships that we can see in this Princeton Training Centre crew, the favourites in this event, and they are all women with a point to prove.
Yeah, what's that? A woman with a point to prove. You don't want to get in their way, do you?
Couldn't come there.
I'm saying that next to a woman who I definitely wouldn't want to get in the way of if she had a point to prove. Kath Bishop, Olympic silver medalist and world champion from the year before in the women's pair. So there is the crew from the Czech Republic on the left of your screen. We're looking at the bow woman of that, Teresa Kochinikova. She is the closest woman to the Americans, who are rapidly disappearing into the distance up this Henley course.
This is what the Americans do. They do it at Olympic level, they do it at World Championship level, and they're doing it in the Remenham Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta. They are powering away. They simply have far more power than the Czechs can match.
And you know, I saw these American women race yesterday in a heat of the Remenham, and I think that race has really sort of benefited them. I think they're actually more on it now, a little bit more cohesive, Kath, and this is really now talk us through that steering from the American cocks.
It's aggression. Everybody's aggressive in that boat, including the cocks. I think they want to make sure they are dominant in everything they do, and they want to send down their puddles to the Czechs just in case they're in any doubt that they aren't many lengths ahead. But they've got to be careful at this point.
Kendall Schmidt, the cocks, I mean, you know, she's got to be competitive, just like the women in front of her. And you know, it's the job, I think, of Heidi Robbins. That's the third time that Boris Rankov has shouted. If he disqualifies this, and he could get disqualified, I mean, they're so far in front, but they are sending puddles down, and he's got the flag out. Now, the Sydney crew that Boris Rankov disqualified earlier on said, we couldn't hear you, but Boris has got a pretty loud voice. He's screaming there, but it is against the wind, and I don't know if that means they can't hear. He shouted again. What do you make of that, Kat?
Oh, I would be getting... I mean, this is just a risk they do not need to take, and the stroke girl should be able to see that, and it is her job to communicate to the cocks if that isn't getting through. I mean, they're a long way back from the umpire's launch now.
So come on, Heidi, you know, tell Kendall, get the hell over towards stroke side to those booms, and you know, avoid the risk of Boris Rankov talking to you with a red flag at the end of the race.
I think they think they're in a boat race then, though, and they're taking the stream or something. I think they've forgotten they're at Henley Royal Regatta.
There's no way that Boris Rankov wants to disqualify this crew, because, you know, they have come over here as strong favourites to take the Grand Challenge Cup, and I think they are leading by so much. The question will be, you know, are they actually impeding? Because by the time those puddles, the swirls of water, get to the women from the Czech Republic, you know, they won't really be impeding them.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just a shame. There's no need for them to do that. They are so dominant, and we should just be focusing on the fantastic, powerful rowing they're doing. There's no need to play games and tricks like that.
Why didn't she move, though, Kath? Why didn't the cocks move, Kendall Schmidt?
I think she's very focused on what she wanted to do, and she wanted to be aggressive to the other crew. I mean, somebody needs to talk to her afterwards to make clear that she actually understands the rules here.
Yeah, I wonder if in the headwind the sound of the umpire's megaphone perhaps just gets carried away, because they're quite, if you see that distance shot from the drone, they're quite a way behind, aren't they? And or maybe she is just being, you know, aggressive, as you say, competitive.
But there is just no need to take silly risks at this point. You're in a semi-final. You want to be in that final winning the medals tomorrow. So, you know, your crew are absolutely dominant. That's really what you should be focusing on. And they need to make sure they're setting themselves up so that they can get their best row. I mean, it's such a dominant performance from them.
We had a great shot from the camera there looking at the stern of that Princeton training centre boat, running very flat, nothing really disturbing it too much on the catch. I think sometimes when the American women are at their best, they do get a fluid run of the boat, and when they're at their worst, they're kind of very aggressive on the front end. I know Tom Tahar's tried to sort of help them get out of that.
It's interesting, yeah, the last few years the Americans have really been sort of almost quite violent with their bodies in the way that they sort of try and accelerate. Almost looks like they're yanking through in a way that you would never think was, you know, ideal for optimal speed, but they have absolutely smashed the rest of the world doing it. But actually what I'm seeing here is a much smoother acceleration. They're using the bodies sort of much less in that jerky fashion and just driving through. You can see the immense upper body strength that every one of these girls has. The training they will have done is absolutely relentless.
What do you reckon their average is on the 2K erg, Kath?
They're all around 640.
I reckon sub 640.
Yeah.
What was your PP?
629.
629, that's a monster score. You heard it there on BT Sport, Kath Bishop saying her personal best was 629. World record, I think, 626 by Elena Buriak from Ukraine. It's only 3 seconds off the world record. I can't believe I'm sitting next to someone who's that strong on the ergo. We haven't seen a lot of this crew. There's Kat Kopeka, raced in the women's pair this season, came 9th in the European Championship with that powerful fibre-woman with the blonde hair and the distinctive bob on the top of her head. Martina Stiller-over, there she is, you can see her in the middle of the boats.
It's great to see that this is part of development of women's rowing, I think, in the Czech Republic, and I'm glad they're bringing them to this international regatta. It's a fantastic experience for them. They're learning all the time. They're trying new combinations, small boats and in the eights, and that's a fantastic thing because that's what we want to see. Gender
equality is here and coming for the Olympics, which is fantastic about time in Tokyo in 2020. This is why you've got the eights like the Czech Republic. So good to see. And a dominant performance by the Americans. I suspect Boris Rankov will want to have a little word with him if he doesn't go up in the launch afterwards as the Czechs come up to the line. Valiant effort, but certainly completely outclassed. I mean, how far away were the Americans? They really wanted to make that race pay, Kath.
They do. I think every race they do here, they've got a point to prove, and they're so strong, they don't need to rest up for tomorrow. They could probably race twice in a day like that.
I know. They'll go out and win this race tomorrow, or this afternoon, won't they? And they'll enjoy it, and then even that probably won't make them feel better for, you know, missing out on the Rio
so tough for them.
So discussions, they're sat there at the finish, and 5 world champion American women. The umpire has not raised a white flag, and he, I suspect, or is he going to now? No, he's not going to have a word with them. What are you going to do, Boris? There's the white flag. Congratulations.